Hello, today is the September 2nd, 2015, and topic is something like the inner group dynamic of Khmer family and extended family, and relationship of that group with other groups and individuals, and all that in the context of a law and the social justification of basic power. So these are some of my observations. One thing intrigued me to speak about that. That was an incident which happened in the lake house number 10. I was involved in it by sheer coincidence. Neighbor across my room asked me for a lighter, and then he entered in a dispute with the lady. One thing about the lady, she is really giving a bad look to people and yeah, commenting in the typical way, quack quack quack, so, on her language, but you definitely understand. So she's, I know her as a tough case, as a conflictual case. Um, and when I first saw her, she was doing a laundry, and I thought, wow, she really has an attitude for somebody who is doing laundry in a hotel. But it's actually family guest house, and she's the lady of the house. That explains the attitude. And things going missing from rooms. She has a thing for iPods and iPhones, for Apple products. And it's that kind of system, so you can only complain to her husband, and nobody knows anything. So so what happened is that that guy finally said something, and then she of course said back F words and so on, and he retreated in his room, and she continued to shout, and I entered my room. I just quickly gave him my lighter. I entered my room to mind my own business, but then her husband came, and he was really, don't touch my family, don't touch my family, and I'm like, just to explain you, the old guy, the old hippie is like 70 years old, and he's really, really not a person who's touching anybody. And the owner, actually manager, is like mid-30s, fat. So she created that scene. Um, why is that important? Because this is a pattern which repeats in this society. Uh, and then, of course, he went there to fight with him immediately. She was like stopping him, and then I opened the door, and then I calmed him. Oh, come on, guys, la la la. Everybody like me, and it was interesting his observation. Like he looked at me and said, "What would you do if I tell you fuck you?" And I just smiled and I said, "Nothing." As like thousands of times before that, chinga chok, farambo, fuck you, hey you, Carl, no problem. What? Nothing exactly. And uh, and then And then in his case, and in case of many Khmer, it's immediate fight, and I think it was, yeah, it was on the same floor a few months ago on a visa run. I saw one South African with a head smashed by, a friend of that guy. So it's a tough place, and people, and they don't really like Farang, so Farang easily get up in trouble, and of course we are minority, and and most of the cases not the fighters, so we get beaten. So I calmed down that situation. And now when I live in Ratanakiri, simply to connect, and of course now if you've been watching everything I said, now you connect the gang stalking and the Phnom Penh situation, in my case, and racism and everything. So it's that kind of situation. But here in the Ratanakiri, in up north, Itameng, I have a privilege to observe Khmer society, which is actually minority society. These are Mun, Lun, those tribes. I really don't know who's who out of my neighbors, really. And but I'm simply observing the general behavior. I have two houses in front of me, and on the house left, I can really, when they open the door, and they're mostly open, I really can see most of the house inside, which is only on one floor. On that house on the right hand side, I can see on the lower floor, and they can like see pretty much of mine. Even now with curtains, it's better, but so. And then there is that police house further right, and I can see like a part of it. And then that house further right, not much actually. We see each other, but a little bit. Yeah, we see. I don't know how much they see. So, what is the inner dynamics? They have, of course, very strict hierarchy. Who is who? And this is, of course, the oldest guy in the house, and young males are listening to him. But they are very lively. So if somebody is passing by, let's say a male individual, they will go, ah, bah, bah, hey, 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 go, move away, hey, hey. It's like a very normal, or communication between dogs and people and you. If dogs run on the street and people don't call them back, it's a very dangerous situation. That means, it's basically justified attack. So these things are also happening there, and basically, it's, dogs are protecting the house in that case. So things can go complicated and bitten, and you see on the footage of Ashley what can happen here. So in a society, there is this inherited aggression, really, not only passive aggression, but simply aggression towards people, something which is for them perfectly common. It's very uncommon in Europe. Like, we largely ignore each other, Europeans. This is our culture. We don't see each other, and here they constantly engage. So something completely opposite. That engagement is mostly friendly. Hello, hello, repeatedly hello, hello from the children, but it can be hostile. So now you remember that story when that hotel manager, told me, what would you do if I would tell you fuck you, like expecting that I would say, yeah, I would like go to fight same as you. No, of course not. Today I was making a test in Bangalore. I was just doing this. All these guys who were looking at me like that kind of look, I simply looked back, mimicking same face and same look. And I can tell you, we see maybe 2 hours, and that was just a few times crossing the road and one market visit. Like at least three guys like stood up, like, hey, like, whoa, like very warm, like very very easy to start the fight. So I definitely do not recommend this country to alpha phalanx, to phalanx who are dominant and want to fight and want to preserve their honor, because that would definitely brought you to deadly and at least painful and expensive medical situation, because it's very easy to end up in a trouble. It's from what I heard from Abbott in Narang, very cool person, very educated, and many other people who are dealing with the customers. It's very simple. Do not walk away around alone. Do not meditate alone, far away from village. Do not drive a scooter alone, because you might get mugged or even killed. And that was happening before. In Wikipedia, there is an example of one French tourist who simply walked a little bit out of Bangalore and got murdered. He was going to one of the closest waterfalls. So, again, how is that viewed? This is very common cultural game. So, it is very important to make a hierarchy in a group. It's very important to be somewhere up in that hierarchy. And they immediately have this group dynamics as all other humans, and it goes for many other species, to set up a certain hierarchy. And then, in order for any part of the group to confirm himself as a man or as a woman, as a person of power, because do not forget, the power is absolutely everything. This is God, God is money. That means absolutely everything. There is no really right and wrong. So when that person from that group confirms himself by provoking you, and these provocations are mostly in groups, which is perfectly common for everybody, including monkeys. They also do the same thing. Absolutely normal for all humans, anyway. They are immediately asking for a conflict, actually. And the reason why these conflicts are not really happening is because people are wisely intelligent and they know the rules. Rules are very simple. If somebody from a big group is provoking you, do not answer back. Because if you answer back, then the whole group gets hot. And this is what happened to that neighbor of mine, Lakeside 10. And this is what happened to me when I, like after a couple of hours of provocations, chinga chok barang bo, which is basically any word to a black person, and mentioning mother, and throwing small stones into the window and stuff like that. A group of teenagers, kids, and some people, adolescent people, just a scene, Phnom Penh Center scene, and I'm only Farang there. And after a couple of hours, I remember, shut up, what's your problem? And then a whole street, what are you telling to us? Like really going, really hot, really drama, like, whoa. So, this is the element of the culture which you must calculate in your like a little thing, if you're anything about tourists, simply living with them, that you must and simply predict that you will be bullied and you cannot respond, because if you respond, it's immediate game for everybody to jump in and go tough. And easily you can have a fight with 10 or 20 people. What happened to Gaetano, one guy I know from Austria, when he was attacked by a huge group. Like all around, it simply happens in the instance, and then people around simply join in. And this is like very common in all Southeast Asia, this conflict between 10 and 15 people and one person. So we have to calculate that, and so it's okay. So everything is very normal. You understand me? Everything is very normal. The whole philosophy, the common man's philosophy is anything what the most powerful group or more powerful person is doing to less powerful person is okay, right? It's perfectly fine. So I don't know how they explain themselves when one sugar company moves like 10 villages. Is it justified from that Loy philosophy, which is really common way of thinking, people really, or because can they protest that really? It's like there is really in a basic morality, okay, society, there is like a huge gap. And then from there you have everything. You have like demonstrations with like two-digit number of murdered people and everything. So that's about it. These are my observations of simply inner group dynamics. How they simply respond to basic persons by passing by the street. Whether they're gonna tell him pa or talkball, which means basically shit you. What's it's a rule of thirds. Every third group will be aggressive. One group will be friendly, one group will be neutral, one group will be hostile. And these are at least Phnom Penh statistics, but I think in Thailand it's pretty much the same. It's a completely different world with a completely different sea of seeing many things. And longer you stay, more you see some great elements, but more you see some things like this. Elements of unnecessary aggressive behavior of one group member, which then results in a group attack of an unprotected person, which is a common thing. Right? Yeah, this is a tough part of living in this society. Simple. One very simple thing. One very simple thing. To be culturally allowed for a huge group of people simply to insult you. Simply fuck. So this is maybe one of the reasons why I would not advise people the country to be more diplomatic, you must be.